So welcome. This is, I'm Wayne, and this is Jillian.
And I'm Jillian.
And this is our very first in a series that we've decided to do, a Soulful Heart vlog series. And wow, so we're just getting used to the idea, and the setting, and each other.
We're not so getting used to each other, but definitely the setting.
And the camera. And Coda's here off to our side too, looking on.
That's our dog.
Yeah. But I think you could start by sharing about the impulse to have a video online. We've done so much writing.
Yeah.
And a lot of our energy comes through, but there's something so different about video.
Yeah, we've been writing on our blog, Soulful Heart blog, for 2 years now. We have a lot of posts on there, and the writing has felt really important in sharing who we are and the way of life that we offer to people. And yet there's something about writing that just isn't as intimate as video. And you know, it's a leap for us to be on video, in terms of parts of us feeling something about that. But it also feels more like what we're offering, which is transparency, intimacy, giving people more of a sense of who we are.
So often we've said that if only we could capture this conversation and just video this. And
just over our morning tea, we have the most fascinating conversations.
Usually every day.
Yeah. Well, we think they're fascinating.
And they become our normal. It's like, oh my God, the content, the energy, the discovery, the ping pong back and forth, sometimes digesting something super exciting, sometimes digesting something really painful and coming through it and out the other side. But so we're trying to see if it's possible to capture that with the presence of the camera. It changes it somehow because we know we're being watched.
I think it'll feel a little heightened in the beginning inside of us, but we're just going to be transparent about that too, and introduce you. If you stick with us, I think through the series, you'll get a much deeper sense of what we mean by Soulful Heart and what we're offering around it, rather than just a teaching one time. It's really embodied in Wayne and I and the work we've done for the last 10 years. So that's what we want to have come forward in a natural way, because that's how we serve people, is as us.
That's an interesting statement, saying it's embodied in us. That's saying we're it.
Yeah.
And I can feel how cross-grain that would go to a lot of people's consciousness. But I do feel that it's born in our hearts and our lives and our choices.
Yes.
And just feeling what you wrote yesterday felt so compelling. It was able to encapsulate in a few words some of the deepest essences of what Soulful Heart is to date. And it's always like we're trying to share what we're offering
to be current and relevant.
And you listen to a video 6 months ago, that's actually quite old stuff.
Yeah.
To where we are today.
Well, I just want to make Wayne mention the writing I had done yesterday. And it's been in my heart for a long time to write a book about Soulful Heart. We've been serving people through this process for about 2 years now. But we've been involved with what we're going to be talking a lot about, which is parts work. And parts are basically sub-personalities that form when you experience traumas from your childhood that can't digest. So they form into parts of us that are subconscious to us. That's why we call them sub-personalities, until we become conscious of them. And in becoming conscious of them is really about connecting with them, journaling with them. And what I like to say is that it awakens your emotional consciousness. So awakening something that was asleep, that you weren't aware of. And in that awakening of parts, it just changes the way that you see and feel life. It doesn't make you a multiple personality or dissociative. It actually brings you more into relating to reality in a way that is not dissociative. You become much more relational with yourself and therefore with other people. So I started our book yesterday, and I emphasized the false self, which is what the parts are, how would I say it? The parts make up the false self. But there's also, when I say the false self, there's a very clear energy that we've just decided to call the prime monarch part of us, or the PM part of us, that really is who we think we are in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So we're offering to people that, you know, from the beginning, you're not who you think you are. Right.
Raising the awareness that we're made up of subpersonalities, and you can become conscious, would actually appeal to a broad spectrum of people that hunger for deeper consciousness.
Yes.
And so there's a beautiful, beautiful aspect to our work of discovering and getting to know and feel your parts. But what you wrote yesterday was that's contained within a larger container within Soulful Heart.
Mm-hmm.
And those pills are harder to swallow.
Yes.
And so we felt naturally wanting to draw new people. We've shared some of the magic of parts with them, because it is so magical, it is beautiful, it is what could create a draw. But we asked the question if we were underselling or not transparentizing enough these deeper, harder pills to swallow.
Mm-hmm.
And you were on a roll yesterday, and just I think I was at the gym, and
there's something that I have a reaction to, a harder pill to swallow, because we're all about not taking medications. I know you're being metaphorical, but to me it's more about leaps in faith and trust, and leaps in thinking, and a leap in the imagination. That's really what we're asking you. The first leap we're asking you to take is that you're not who you think you are. And that you're actually probably dominantly, maybe 80%, a false self. And that's the part of you that is doing life as you. And your authentic self is maybe 20% of who you are. I'm not big on percentages, but it's much less than who you think you are. And when we've offered this to people, most people will say, "Oh, I get that. I get that I'm mostly a false self." They can feel that.
You're right. We have gotten that from people, and we almost want to shake them a little bit and go, "No, I don't think you're getting it," because even though you prize the fact that you get that, is that in itself coming from the false self?
Well, yes. It's sort of like the false self saying, "Yes, I exist."
Yeah.
But then beyond "yes, I exist," we're asking for that leap. But then we're saying, what are you going to do about it? If you know that you're 80% false, are you going to choose the healing you need to choose to change that, to transmute that false self into your authentic self? And that's what we actually have a way of life that offers that does that.
That so far has very, very few takers.
That does have intense takers, though.
It has so profound.
Who really are embracing it deeply.
Yeah. And it's going deeper into us.
I do feel...
And it's going deeper into you and I every day in a profound way that sometimes fasten your seatbelt scary to feel ourselves arising into new essences, struggling with old conditioning, old ways of being. Oh my God, who will we be coming out the other side of this? What's the nature of our bond? Will it continue to arise in this new thing that's arising in us?
All of that is vulnerable.
So yeah, it goes really deep and wide.
And when you say deep too, that's the thing that really captivates me about this way of life, is that it never ends. The possibilities are limitless in terms of healing, because it's a perpetual self-discovery and sorting through. And that's also what we wanted to share on this vlog, is our own processes as they come up, what we're currently working with.
My God, we got so much stuff we're trying to squeeze in this intro.
Yeah.
I just feel so many trajectories, but when you just mentioned, a way of life, that was one of our big discoveries recently, is we stopped introducing ourselves as, I used to say, kind of hat in hand. My wife and I started this spiritual and emotional healing work, and we're spiritual and emotional healing teachers.
Right.
And it was the best words I could come up with. And then we really discovered that was a shrink. No, we're offering a way of life. That's what it is. And in that we do teaching.
And we
And it involves
facilitate.
spiritual and emotional healing.
Right.
But we're leading. I like to joke a little bit and call it a cult, because it is a cult. 2 or more people gathered in one place is a new culture arising.
I like to condition that with, it's not a harmful cult.
Yeah.
There's distinctions there for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I get what you're saying, because when you're offering a way of life, there is an intensity to it in terms of how you take it in.
Mm-hmm.
I want to
It
say,
shifts everything in your life, and something that shifts everything in how you relate to life, how you feel about, how you process life. That's that engrossing. It would get right to that place where people go, "Oh my God, this feels like a cult," because it's that deep. But the person saying that is embedded in a culture that they're judging another culture from that proposes. And for a lot of people that couldn't make that shift, and they wouldn't be ready for this. This wouldn't be for them.
right.
So this isn't a sell for numbers or likes. God, I hate likes. We're seeking for either loves or hates.
Right.
Where were we going?
Well, I feel I want you to look at the camera more. I'm just
Oh.
going to out that. Does it still feel a little odd
Well,
to
I'm
look
still
at the
trying
camera?
to get used to whether we're trying to have a conversation and let
I think
others in on it,
yeah.
or whether we're
It's both.
yeah.
I guess we'll just transparentize this, but when when we're offering something, I feel like we look at the camera to connect with those of you watching it. And there's also our conversation happening as well.
Maybe I'm feeling a little bit resistant to letting in the others, because I've been so enjoying what we've shared in this space.
That's a push-pull, because we so want people to take in what we're offering, and we want to serve and facilitate people in this way of life, because just the few that we have, it's been so phenomenal in the changes that have occurred for them.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll get them in here talking about that too. At the same time, the push-pull is that we enjoy an intimacy and a life together that's really amazing. But it doesn't feel like it's meant to just be here. It's always felt like it was meant to overflow and serve
we've
others.
always had a wrestling with some of the writing and giving that we've done. It's like a bakery that produces these baked goods and puts them on the shelves. You need somebody to come and either consume those goods, tell you how good they are, and ask you for more, that juices you to continue to serve.
Right.
And it feels like at times we've given and done so much with so little awareness of where it's landing, other than in our immediate small circle. And so this is calibrating to that we feel empowered and authorized, called to give what we have.
Absolutely.
But there really is an invitation to feel your response to it, and knowing that we are connected to those that we're sharing with, that there's a vitality of feeling it land in people's hearts.
Yeah.
That short of that isn't real enough yet. So
That almost feels like good for today.
yeah.
I mean, because it's a sort of an introduction to us. I would encourage you, if this perks something for you, to check out our website, SoulFullHeart.com, and we also have an online group, and we also have a blog. We also have a book. I've written a book about connection with the Divine Mother. You've written a book about connection with Yeshua, and that's going to be woven in here as well, is how we relate with the divine. What do I mean by Divine Mother, and what's your experience with Yeshua? And there's a lot to talk about just in that area alone, and also relationships with birth family and friends and mates, which we feel is crucial in terms of healing, in which many healings don't touch that area at all. You have a therapy or a spiritual practice, but you don't go into the taboo of the family or the relationships. And we're saying that nothing is taboo, that all areas of our life are ripe for healing, and that the false self is operating in all of those areas, especially the relationships in your life. So I want to set up just for a moment that we feel Soulful Heart interacts with 6 areas of your life, and that is emotional, spiritual, social, physical, livelihood, and the environment.
Way to go, you got them all.
I did. And we write a lot more about that on the website if you're curious about, but we'll also be talking about those 6 areas of life. So it's a very holistic offering that way.
Because any offering that doesn't include, we feel, those 6 is some part of us is hiding out in the non-inclusion of that whole dimension of grounded everyday life. What's up in social? What's up in livelihood? What's up in physical?
An example of that is if you belong to a spiritual group, but no, we don't go into the emotional. That's for your therapist, not us. Or no, we don't go into that you're overweight and unhappy with your body, and we don't go into your relationship with your spouse or mate, or we don't talk about how you're earning money or how you feel about the environment and the world and animals.
As long as you pay your money when you leave.
So that kind of compartmentalization, or we could use the same example for most therapy, and that it doesn't go everywhere you need it to go. And
we've reached peak therapy. Day feels so done. We particularly want to appeal to people whose bullshit detector is on high alert, and they're looking for a signature something that they'll know it when they see it, and before then they're quite happy to just be on the down low and tuned out, but one eye's open, scanning. If I see it, I'll know it when I see it. And we're hoping that us being more of ourselves, allowing you to see into our world as transparently as we can be, would spark that. And there's alchemy in that. There's places we have to go that we can't go until more people who are called to be part of this roll it out together.
Right.
In grounded healing.
Yes.
That's like way cool shit, man.
It is. Do we have to put a disclaimer about your language?
Maybe.
That to me feels like a sweet start.
Okay.
And we're not necessarily committing to daily. We'll see how it arises for us and in our life. But
and each one, getting it uploaded is going to be a little challenge for us too, as we're currently broadcasting to you live from Terra, which is the name of our RV, and
that's a whole story
with
in
a
and of itself.
limited internet connection. So there'll be some logistics to work out. All part of the fun, though.
I just want to say too, anyone who is taking this in, I feel honored that you're doing that, and it feels like there's a reason that you were drawn here. Like Wayne was saying, one eye is open and wondering, and that's where I was 10 years ago. I was not feeling like anything was really meeting what I needed, and I felt the falsity in myself. I definitely did. And this work that we were offered, where we met, Emotional Body Enlightenment, it just pierced something of the veil of the false self. It said, you are not who you think you are. And I was like, thank goodness, because I don't know if I like all aspects of myself, and I don't feel joy. I don't feel authentic. That was the big thing. I did not feel authentic at that time. And so really what we're saying is that hang in there with us, even if your false self is already rumbling around what the heck are they talking about, or resisting, because that I believe there's a spark there that you'll feel, even through video, even if we never hear from you. That's the reason I'm showing up for this. And for my own growth. So.
Wow. There's no place, it's hard to quit, isn't it?
Well, that's why we'll have a series.
Okay. Thanks for joining in.
Yes.
We'll talk to you real soon.
Thank you.